Hello everyone and welcome to my online lesson on product of prime factors. This is an example question. It says write 140 as a product of prime factors. So there's a method we're going to use to do this. I'm basically splitting 140 into all the prime numbers that multiply to make it. So I'm going to start by writing down my 140. And I'm just going to think of any two numbers that will times together to make 140. Now obviously there's lots of different options. One that stands out to me is 14 and 10. So I'm going to go for 14 and 10 here. Now neither of these numbers are prime, so I've got to keep going a little bit. This 14 here can split up further into, well, I can think of 2 and 7. Now both of those are prime, so I'm just going to circle both of those numbers because they're sort of dead ends. I can't go any further there. I've reached a prime number. Now some people at this point would say, well, I can go further. I can split 2 into 2 and 1. But if I start doing that, I could go on forever and I could constantly split numbers into themselves and 1. So we sort of avoid that, and this here we don't do. So we can't split things into themselves and 1. So back to my tree, I've got my 10 that I need to split up. I'm going to split my 10 into 2 and 5. And again, this time both of these are prime, so I'm going to circle these. And that's it. I've got nowhere else I can go. So 140 as a product of prime factors is 2 times 7 times 2 times 5. Now it's good practice to sort of write these in ascending order, so I'm going to rewrite that underneath in ascending order. And then often it'll say use index notation. Now this question doesn't ask for it, but sometimes they do award marks for this. So by index notation they mean if you have any sort of repeats, like here I have 2 times 2, well 2 times 2 is just 2 squared. So it's better to write it as 2 squared times 5 times 7. Now, as I said before, there are different ways of doing this. So here's just a couple more examples to show you. The 140 could have been split up into 2 and 70 first and split up from there. Or it could have been split into 7 and 20. There are lots of different ways of doing it. But as long as you do it right and follow the steps, you should get the same answer of 2 squared times 5 times 7. Remember, it's multiply because it's product of prime factors, which means multiply. Now there is a way I can actually check my answer here. I'm saying that 140 can be written as 2 squared times 5 times 7. So let's check that out and see if it works. I know that 2 squared is 4, so I've got 4 times 5 times 7. Now I can do this in any order I want, multiplying doesn't matter. So I'm going to do 4 times 5 first is 20, so I've got 20 times 7, and 20 times 7 is 140. So not only do I know that I've done this question right, I've banked those marks. It would probably be a 2-mark question. Now here's a question for you to try. This is 132 as a product of prime factors, and I'd like you to write it in index notation as well for me, please. So if you can pause the video now, and I'll show you the solution on the next page. So here's my solution. Again, your tree might look slightly different. You might not have chosen 2 and 66 to split it up into. That's fine, as long as your final answer is 2 squared times 3 times 11. Thank you for watching my video.